All right, good evening, fifth grade parents and families, and welcome to our annual beginning band and orchestra meeting. Today we're going to give you all the information you're going to need to get started and get registered for next week's lessons in all of our elementary buildings. We're going to start out with a couple performances. These will be very short, but I love to have our high school students perform because I want you to keep in mind all of them, nearly all of them, started in fifth grade. They actually sat in this very auditorium for this very same meeting, many of them, back in the day. And so we're going to feature two of our ensembles. We have right in front of you, we have the squad leaders from our Marching Mustangs. This is not the whole Marching Mustang band, of course. These are our squad leaders, and they're going to kick us off and demonstrate and show you what our band sounds like. So my name is Andy Iron. I'm the Director of Orchestras here at Strongsville High School. I also teach beginning fifth grade orchestra at Whitney and Muraski Elementary School. You just heard squad leaders from our Marching Mustangs. You'll notice a lot of those students are also in this ensemble, which is the really cool part about Strongsville High School. A lot of our students play in multiple groups. This is the Strongsville High School Symphony Orchestra. You will notice it has all of the instruments that we use in fifth grade, except saxophone, where we start players in. And so this is a great group to demonstrate what they all sound like when they're together. We're going to play a piece that we love to do at this particular event. It's called The Children of Sanchez by the great Chuck Mangione. And Chuck Mangione just passed away this past summer, so this is a great tribute to him. So I think you'll like this.
evening. I'm Mrs. Robley. We are so excited to have you guys here tonight. Let's give another round of applause for our awesome symphony orchestra. We're so excited to get started with our fifth graders this year in our band and orchestra programs, and we want to show you a little bit about what that means tonight. I'll introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Robley. I teach fifth grade at Kinsner, Maraski, and Whitney. I also teach sixth grade band at the middle school. Mr. Tyson also teaches band. He teaches at Chapman and Sorara this year. We have Mr. King, Mr. Tyson also teaching at the middle school with Mr. Chizzy and myself. Mr. Tyson and Mr. King also are the high school directors as well. The orchestra staff, we have Miss Rogers teaching at Chapman, Kinsner, and Sorara this year. Mr. Heyer is teaching at Maraski, Whitney. And at the middle school, we have Miss Taylor, Miss Bravo, Mrs. Rogers, and Mr. Tyson. And at the high school, Mr. Tyson is also teaching with Mr. Heyer as well. We are very lucky here in Strongsville. We have such an amazingly supportive administration and an awesome community. This year, we are named one of the best communities for music education, and this would be the 12th year for that. So we are very proud of our awesome music program. Very proud. A little bit about our music program at the elementary level. We will have some weekly rotating class lessons and a full group ensemble each week. School assemblies we will play for. At concerts, we will do all-city band and orchestra concert and events. And we do have an awesome summer band and summer orchestra experience that the students can participate in. At the middle school, we have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade bands, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade orchestras. We have a chamber strings group. We have an honors band, a jazz band. We have solo and ensemble contest, Electrify Your Orchestra. We have large group contests, honors festivals, and some of the students' favorites of the Cedar Point Music Festival, where they go and earn lots of trophies and have a really great time. At the high school level, we have our awesome wind ensemble, symphonic band, concert band groups. We have our amazing symphony orchestra, string orchestra, freshman orchestra. Our marching band, which you can see on Friday nights. They also have a band show this Saturday at the North Royalton High School. The jazz band, the pep band that plays at basketball games. We have small ensembles, chamber strings, and we have a pit orchestra. That's the one that plays for the school.
Hi everyone, nice to see you. I'm Mrs. Rogers, and hello to everyone watching live streamed at home as well. I do teach orchestra at Kinsner, Chapman, Sorara, and I also teach 6th grade orchestra at the middle school. So I'll first be telling you a little bit about what we do in the high school, something fun, an opportunity that the students have. We do travel every few years, and our bands and orchestras have traveled to Disney, Chicago, Hawaii, the Macy's Day Parade, and to New York City. So that's just a fun opportunity that they have when they reach the high school levels. There's so many benefits of participating. Students are immediately part of a group, and especially we see when they come to middle school, they have a class and they have something in common with everyone in the grade room. They all play an instrument, and it's just a great place that everyone can belong. So it just really builds team and positive things that they can do, and that helps them be a well-rounded student. And it also helps with reading and decoding skills as they're reading music. So it's just highly recommended that students do play an instrument, as you all know as you're here this evening. So the instruments that we'll be offering this year on the band side, students can choose flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, baritone, euphonium, or percussion. And in the orchestra, we have violin, viola, cello, and bass. Any fifth grader is eligible to start learning an instrument this year. We really enjoyed meeting your son or daughter as they tried all of the instruments these past few weeks and seeing what they enjoyed holding and feeling, what they really enjoyed the sound of. So instrumental instruction does start next week. So some rental Some companies do deliveries. They will deliver to your home building. Some of them you do go to the store, and those stores do have our first lesson schedules, so they will have your instruments, but do check with the store if they do delivery, confirm with them when your school's first lesson is, so they know exactly when to deliver the instruments, and it's ready to go for their first lesson on that first day. Students do receive an evaluation on their report cards every trimester for both band and orchestra, and they'll receive specific feedback on their note reading, their rhythm reading, and their tone quality. To officially register, on the bottom of the lesson schedule, there's a QR code and there's a website, and you're going to fill out a Google form for us that says your son or daughter's name, their homeroom, and the instrument that they will be registering for this year. If you are at home watching the live stream, it's available in Google Classroom, and it is also on the screen here if you're live streaming at home. But if it's not working for you at home, in that Google Classroom, there's the first lesson schedule, the website is there, and there's also a button in Google Classroom that you can click on that says register now, that you can fill out that Google form to register. We would appreciate you completing that form by Friday, so we do have the final numbers so we know what to expect for our first lessons next week. Okay, I'm now going to pass it off to Mr. Heyer, and he's going to talk a little bit about instrument quality.
All right, so good evening, and as I mentioned earlier tonight, I am Andy Heyer. I'm the Director of Orchestras here at Strongsville High School. I also teach beginning 5th grade orchestra at Whitney and Moraski Elementary Schools. We're very fortunate being in the Cleveland area as we have a lot of outstanding music stores in our area who service our programs. As you walked in today, you saw on a table outside the lobby all of the flyers from the area music stores that we recommend. These stores service our programs, and they've serviced us for many, many, many years. They know exactly what supplies we require. They have high-quality instruments that play well, and the students will have a lot of success on them. I do want to warn you about some things that sometimes parents will do. Please do not obtain an instrument from a big box retailer. We also ask that you avoid going to the internet and purchasing off of Amazon. I have actually personally seen some violins and cellos come off of the internet that had to be assembled. And I will not assemble instruments. And then when you go to the music store to have them assembled, it costs so much to have them assembled, you're better off renting. I've also seen instruments, and this is true, it happened to me once. I was tuning an instrument that was purchased off the internet, and it was made of green wood that had not thoroughly dried. As I was tuning it, the instrument completely fell apart in my hands, completely. And it just was not of a proper quality. I know that it's tempting. You see instruments online that look very cheap, but trust me, they are. And we've even seen instruments that aren't in tune, that are persistently out of tune. Brass instruments that play it flat, and so you can't use that because it's not in tune and the instrument is not that good. So you got to be very cautious, and we ask that you avoid that. And of course, we also ask that you avoid the pawn shops. So I will say this, if you see the flyer out there on the table and you grab one, that's recommended. Those are stores we deal with and they deal with us. Renting versus purchasing. So, you know, a lot of you might have an instrument at home already from an older child. That's great. Or an instrument that was given to you by a friend or family member. We ask that you get it to a music store and have it checked out to make sure it's functional, operational, making sure that the bow has proper bow hair and the strings aren't going to break, that they're fresh and ready to go for the student, because sometimes they'll show up with an instrument that was given to them and it's not in good quality playing shape, and that can set them back because you got to go to the shop, get it fixed. They don't have the instrument for a few weeks, they miss some of the instruction, they come back. So if you do have an instrument already existing, get it into a shop right away so it's ready to go. But most music stores will have you rent. And the reason they do that is because, first off, your students try it out, and we want to make sure they stick with it. Secondly, the money goes into a bank that starts to accumulate over time, And eventually, after a year, more like 2 or 3 years, that bank has grown to purchase a brand new instrument. And that's why a lot of the stores offer rental programs, and that's what most students do. For string players in orchestra, very few students start with a full-size instrument. Most of the students we start in 5th grade will start on a 1/2 or 3/4 size instrument, or if it's a viola, a 12 or 13-inch viola. Full-size instruments are too large for them. They cannot reach, they cannot play, it's frustrating, and it's heavy. That's why when we were doing screenings at all of our buildings, we circled a size next to the string instruments they tried, and that was our way of telling you as parents, this is the size that's recommended for your student. If you lost that paper or you don't remember where it's at, no worries. You can go to the music store and they will also do some sizing for you and help you out free of charge. But that's another reason why we ask that you rent. String players don't start out on full-size instruments until they grow into them, and for some, it takes several years. They don't grow into it until middle school, and for viola players, it can actually goes all the way through high school, because those violas keep getting larger as they grow. All right? Quality instruments increase student success. An instrument that makes a good sound, that's in tune and easy to play on, helps the student succeed. An instrument that's not of good quality causes problems. If it's out of tune, it doesn't blend with the ensemble, if we're not able to keep it in tune, if the pegs aren't fit right or whatever, it causes a lot of issues. That's why we really want you to make sure you get a high quality instrument so your student is set up for success. And again, the music stores who have flyers on the table out there are stores we know have high quality instruments, rentals for our students to be successful. So again, as I said earlier, avoid purchasing on the internet. This is where I've seen a lot of problems with instruments. Some of the instruments are actually glorified toys. I've had students a couple times show up with a beautiful blue violin that looks like it's got shiny car paint on it. That's really not a very good instrument. Trust me on that. It's like a glorified toy. I hate to say it, but that's, you know, they're inferior quality. So highly recommend that you rent from one of the music stores that we have recommended, or if you're using an instrument again that was passed down to you, make sure it's in playable condition and make sure it's ready to go for this school year. All right? A few questions to ask before you rent. What are the terms after the introductory period? Will I be renting a new or a used instrument? Does the money go into a bank towards the eventual purchase of an instrument? And how much and for how long? And what is the procedure for repairs? Will I get a loaner if the instrument goes into the shop? So, you know, things happen. These are students that are learning how to play instruments. And as you know, sometimes they'll have accidents, drop an instrument. That's not unusual. It's not a big deal. Many of the music stores will go ahead, no problem, take care of it, give you a new instrument. But you have to ask. Some of them require a service plan or a service agreement for that. String players will break strings. They break. It's normal. It's a fact of what's like your car needs an oil change every now and then. Strings break. They don't last forever, and it always happens, especially when winter months come. You're going to want to ask the music store, do you have replacement strings included? Or is that part of the service plan that I purchased? And if so, you know, how much is a replacement string? Well, honestly, they don't cost that much. And a lot of times I can put it on, or Mrs. Rogers can put it on for a student. But those are questions to ask. And most importantly, if it does go in for repairs, it's important that students still have an instrument. As lessons continue, if a student is sitting in our lessons and doesn't have a clarinet for a couple weeks, that's not going to help him or her when their instrument comes back, because they will have missed some valuable instruction. So questions to ask. So again, if you already own an instrument, make sure you take it to a music store and check if it's in good order. Rental rates vary depending on the instrument and the length of the rental period. So I think all of those stores have very good they'll disclose all that to you, and you can always ask if you have more questions on that.
Hi, I'm Mr. Tyson. I teach band at Chapman and Sarrar, as well as 7th grade at the middle school and then also here up at the high school. One thing is instrumentation. As you saw with both the Symphony Orchestra and the marching band, they're not all just one instrument playing up here. There's a big variety of instruments. So that's important also to start with a variety of instruments in 5th grade. So on the form that you guys will fill out to register, there'll be a part of the form that actually mentions about a second choice. And you can also put on there, like, I only want my first choice, that's totally fine. But if you're comfortable with the second choice, you can put it on there, and then we'll email you if, like, we don't have any of this instrument at this school, and we want to see if you'd be willing to. And if you actually already got the instrument at a store to rent, a lot of the time stores are actually okay with you bringing it in and switching it out. So you could always ask that at the store when if you're going in for a rental or something like that. But that's on the form, and if we end up needing instrumentation for that, we'll contact you. Percussionists need, when you go to the music store, they should already know this, but make sure that when you get a percussion kit, it has a snare drum with stands, bell and stand, sticks, bell mallets, music stand case, and a lesson book. And a lot of the snare drums, the percussion kits will also come with a snare pad. That's really good for practicing, especially at home. If, for example, you don't want to hear snare drum at like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. when they decide to practice, you can always have a snare drum or a pad, and it's a lot less loud. Transportation, especially with the big instruments, percussion and cellos. Check with your bus driver to see if there's room for it. There needs to be, if every kid who's supposed to ride that bus is riding the bus, there needs to be a space for it next to them for it to go on the bus. If not, then transportation has to be worked out. And if there is some issue that there's trouble working out with either the bus driver or something, you can always contact us and we can try to see if we can help out in some way. But just check with your bus driver to see if there is space for that percussion or cello. The beginning band book that we use is Tradition of Excellence. There's another one that looks close to it called Standards of Excellence. That's not the one, it's Tradition of Excellence, and it looks like this. There's also a bunch of different colors of the book. When we start with the red one other way is if you look up at the top how it says Book 1. Also note that next to it, it has the instrument. It also has that on the cover, but to make sure you get the right instrument and Book 1 of Tradition of Excellence for band. And for orchestra, they have Essential Elements, also Book 1, which is orange. And so it'll look like this. Again, also make sure that you have the right instrument. Especially check the name to make sure that it says violin or viola. Sometimes those get easily mixed up, or cello or bass. Hi. So this QR code is also on the first lesson sheet out. You guys can get at the front. If you scan it, it has a bunch of information on that, and you can always, at the green bar at the top, it has a register now. And by Friday, please, just so we can kind of plan for what the instrumentation will be and who will be singing next week, please go ahead and fill that out. And thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are all excited to play instruments. It'll be super fun. Hope for a good year. Anything else? We will see you guys next week. Up at the back, if you missed our instrument try-ons, we have instruments there if you missed, and you can always come up to us and ask us any questions. Thank you guys so much.